Hi, everybody. So we are here to talk about the latest episode of Doctor Who. This is season 10, episode 11. It's the first part of the season finale, and it's called World Enough and Time. And I'm here with my friend Jonathan to talk all about it.
Hello.
Yeah, so we've almost finished this season. Jonathan's a tried and true Doctor Who fan. I'm new to the series, and so I think that'll come into play quite a bit with this episode in particular. But what was your overall feeling about this episode?
I really liked it. There were some things that I didn't care for a bit, but overall, I really liked this episode. And then at the end, I hated it. But I hated it for good reasons.
I hate it for good reason. Okay. So
it's one of those things where I hated it in the moment, but I think ultimately it was probably a good choice.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see what happens next week, because everything could be undone. Who knows? It's a cliffhanger and it's Moffat, so you never know.
Yeah. So I feel like this episode was meant for fans of the show, and I was gonna ask you what you think is, where do you draw the line between like fan service and like and it keeping itself fun and approachable, and I don't know, like, where do you draw that line personally when you feel like, oh, we're getting into sort of fan service for the sake of fan service as opposed to actually like good storytelling?
I thought that this was mostly good storytelling. I thought that it was a good choice to show the origins of the Cybermen, because that kind of will help people who didn't know really anything about them to understand what they are, where they came from. These are a different sort of Cybermen that have been on the show before. The other ones that have been in the new series specifically have been from, well, they started out as from another dimension, but now their origins are sort of muddled, because you can tell they're different than when they first appeared. I don't know, you'll see later on. But the Cybermen that are in this episode are from the old series. Like, I've not seen the episodes, but I know that they are the monsters that are responsible for the very first regeneration. So the first Doctor was taken down by these Cybermen from the planet Mondas, and these are like, they alternate between being the cheesiest and creepiest versions of the Cybermen, at least the old pictures that I've seen, because they look kind of fake-ish, but they're sort of humanoid, and apparently they terrify people. I didn't think they were that scary, but I don't know, maybe I'm jaded, I don't know. But they're apparently Peter Capaldi's favorite villain from the old series, and he told people that, and they decided they were going to try and bring them back for him for his episodes where he's leaving the show, just sort of a gift to him, I guess. But I thought they did a good job with how they did it, showing their origins and everything.
Yeah, I had no problem. I had no problem, because obviously I didn't know that they were from past episodes. But I guess where I kind of wondered is with the bringing back of the master, this one that evidently this was supposed to be this huge reveal. Like, people are freaking out online. Because I'm new to the series, it really didn't do anything for me. It didn't excite me. It didn't, like, because I didn't know. Like, I have no idea who this person is. And so that's where I kind of wonder if, like, is it better to bring, whether it's the Cybermen or whether it's this version of the Master that people know, is it better to do something like that, or better to do something new and unexpected And would that be sort of more tantalizing because you wouldn't know what was going to happen, and it would be something new for people new to the show also, but also something new for people that were big fans. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess. I didn't really have, as someone who's been watching the show for a long time, I knew who he was and I was excited to see him again. But I think the way they did it, it was written for the fans.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they did it in such a way that it's not completely inaccessible to new viewers. They were just, I can imagine that if I had never seen it before, I would think, oh, this is an interesting twist. It's the Master again, because Misty is the Master.
Mm-hmm.
So it is, I think it's interesting to have two versions of the Master together.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll get even more interesting next week when...
Yeah. It just, I don't think it had any kind of shock value for me. And
no,
I think it clearly was trying to have shock value, which it didn't for me, but that's okay.
I'm sure it had shock value for the fans, because for me anyway, I was shocked. Even though I knew John Sim was coming back, I was waiting the whole episode like, where is John Sim? When is he? I bet he's going to be like, going to pop in at the end and be revealed as the mastermind behind all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Pun not intended, mastermind. And then when it was revealed that this little guy who had been Bill's friend the whole time was actually John Sim, my jaw dropped. I was not expecting that the whole time. And I didn't realize it until like when he started talking to Missy, and I was like, wait a second. Is that John Sim? And I was going back for, that's not John Sim. That's John Sim. And then he took the mask off. I was like, oh my word. Because part of me was not looking forward to the end of the episode because I knew that John Sim was coming. And I was like, I wish that they would not have announced this, because that would have been such a huge surprise reveal to have John Sim suddenly show up at the end of the episode. He hasn't been on the show for years, and to have him suddenly make a surprise appearance, that would have been such an amazing reveal. So I was afraid that I was going to be let down by his reveal. But by hiding him in the episode, I thought they did the next best thing. They'd already spoiled that he was coming back, but they surprised me anyway, and I was really happy with that.
Mm. Yeah, that's one thing. And my friend Richard, he was not a fan of this episode. I'll put a link in his blog to the description, but that was one point that he made, that if they hadn't announced it, that it would have been a lot more satisfying of a surprise. Mm-hmm. So that's a shame that they don't seem to be able to keep things hidden very well when it comes to Doctor Who.
I think they were probably afraid it was going to leak, so they decided that they were going to show it, announce it.
So let's start with the beginning of the episode. They have this scene with the Doctor regenerating at the very beginning, and this is basically like a fake out.
I was not a fan of that. I was like, this is how they're going to begin the show? Really? Another fake out? And I started the episode kind of disgusted. I was like, why did they do this again? They already did this one time earlier in the season, had a fake regeneration. Why are they doing it again? I was annoyed.
Yeah.
I'm glad the episode got better for me after that, but it didn't start out on a very good note for me. I was just too annoyed with it.
I wrote in my notes, the Doctor regenerating. I said, Stephen Moffat fake out.
Yeah, it really felt like that.
Yeah. So we get this whole scene that seemed very strange to me, where the Doctor and Missy are talking, and Missy says who the Doctor, or is it who, like, she actually explains the meaning behind Doctor Who and that name. And
I think this was Stephen Moffat trying to be clever and annoy people at the same time, because fans hate it when people call the Doctor Doctor Who. Mm-hmm. Like, you can find very rabid fans online who will chew you out if you ever call the Doctor Doctor Who. Like, use that as
Right.
his name. So I think he was trying to make fun of and annoy the fans that don't like him being called Doctor Who.
Yeah, I kind of got that vibe a little bit, and I don't
It
know, it just
was
seemed to.
amusing, but it was amusing, but I don't know, kind of annoying because it didn't
Yeah.
serve any real purpose in the episode, and it just felt like him thinking, "Oh, I'm so clever." Hee hee hee.
Yeah, that's how I felt too. It was a little too cheeky. It was a little too,
Yeah.
yeah, I agree. The scene went on a little too long too. I
Mhm.
was like, okay, let's move on to this actual story. Then we've had a fake out, and then we've had all this talking about Doctor Who and all this stuff, and so the Doctor is sort of watching Missy. And the question is, so has the Doctor like completely abandoned his oath at this point? Like he is, like there's no talk at all about bringing her back to the vault, or even like Nardal's not even bothering with that anymore. Like, is that just gone?
I think he probably, I don't really know the terms of his vow very well, but I think he probably feels like he's honoring the spirit of his vow by keeping her under close eye, even though she could, I don't know, make a dash for it at any time. He probably thinks that because he's watching her, he's sort of keeping his vow.
And he's kind of like testing her that to
Mhm.
see if she can.
He wants her to be good so bad that he's, I don't know, I don't think he's acting very smart about it.
Right. Yeah, agreed. So this blue guy, I'm sure he has a name, but I just wrote blue guy, comes in and and he it says that he's upset with the humans, and he ends up shooting Bill. Like she admits that she's a human, and I don't know. Was that shocking for you? How do you feel
Yeah,
about that?
that was like brutally, the most brutal way I've ever seen one of the companions taken out. Like, he's had companions die before, but never so graphically. I I was shocked. I mean, yes, they brought her back temporarily, but I was it was another one of those moments where my jaw dropped. I was like, I cannot believe they just did that.
Yeah, I was surprised also. I think if they had, I wish they'd kind of stayed with that a little bit more, and gotten a little bit more of the feelings of all involved, and just been a little more. I felt like they moved pretty quickly onto this sort of conversation that I think it's Bill has with the Doctor about Missy. I don't know. I felt like
They,
if.
they were trying. I felt it felt like they were trying to, I don't know, soften the blow of her death by juxtaposing all these flashbacks into the scene.
Hmm.
And
Well, and
it
I
would
just
have
felt
been
like.
more impactful if they hadn't done it that way.
I mean, do you think that she's really going to die, or do you think that uh, they'll have some convoluted way of bringing her back, or is she gone?
I have no idea, but I'm afraid she's probably gone because this is the end of an era, so to speak. Stephen Moffat is leaving, Peter Capaldi is leaving. I have a feeling they're trying to give the next showrunner a blank slate to work with. He'll
Mm,
get a fresh new doctor, a fresh new companion, and basically be able to make the show his own. I have,
okay.
I have a feeling that Bill is probably gone.
Hmm.
And as much as I hate that she died like this, it is kind of a good, terrible story. Like, in a way, it is good. I liked it as much as I hated it, I suppose. I don't want
Hmm.
her to die, but I don't know. It was really, I don't know, visceral maybe, and it made me feel things. So I guess that's good.
Yeah, I just wish that the episode had kind of remembered that a little bit more. I just felt like it was kind of quickly forgotten by the episode. But anyway,
Yeah.
it was pretty brutal. I get that. So we get this scene, this flashback, I guess, where the doctor is saying that he wants to sort of test Missy, and that she's the only person I've ever met who is even remotely like me, and he wants more than anything. Bill says, so you want more than anything for her to be good, and he says, I know that I can help her. And so I don't know. What do you think about this?
It's probably one of those things where he thinks he can help her, and because he thinks that he can help her, he thinks he knows he can help her. Sometimes the doctor bites off more than he can chew, I guess. He thinks he has more capability than he does. And maybe he can help her, but I don't think it's gonna work.
Is that a strong statement for him to make, that nobody else he's ever met is remotely like him?
No,
none of his companions, none of.
I think he's thinking of Time Lords. Like his people, they're all very cold and almost emotionless. The Doctor and the Master, they're completely different, but they're the same in ways that the rest of the Time Lords are not. Like, they both have a spirit of adventure, but if the Doctor, he wants to explore new worlds, the Master wants to rule new worlds, I guess. That's probably the best way to think about it.
Okay, yeah, it's interesting. And I think a lot of times we think that we can sort of save people, that if we just love them enough, or we just are there for them enough, that they will give up their addictions or whatever, horrible things they may be involved in. And that's just not the case most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
We end up just enabling their bad behavior as opposed to actually saving them.
And I think that it's also one of those things where a lot of people, they put so much time and effort into trying to fix someone else that they're ignoring the people that are around them.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happened with Bill.
That's a good point.
He was focused far too much on Missy, and Bill died because of it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, because she says to him, promise me that you won't get me killed.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, I don't know if I make that promise or keep that promise. But so these, I wrote down, the weird IV people take Bill away.
That's probably a good description.
That was so I guess these are the Mondasian Cybermen, is that correct?
I think it's pronounced Mondasian.
Mondasian, okay.
Because I think
Cybermen.
the planet is Mondas.
Yeah, I prefer weird IV people. I didn't know that's what they were called when I was watching. So we do get a lot of exposition in this sort of next scene. And the people take Bill away. They make her wake up again, and there's this let's see here, she seems to have not gotten the full conversion that the other people with the blue IVs have gotten. She's still somewhat human.
They basically patched the hole and tried to get her back on her feet before they did the whole operation to her.
Yeah, they're just kind of, I don't know how to explain them. They look really weird. They look like they kind of look like the Scarecrow in the Batman Begins, sort of, a little bit.
Yeah, sort of. I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah. Or what are they called? I'm gonna be a bad Star Wars fan. Shoot, I can't think of the name. There's sand people.
Jawas.
Yeah. Look a little bit like that too to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I thought it sort of reminded me a little bit of One Flew Over Cuckoo's Nest. Like they had that evil nurse, like Nurse Ratched kind of type, and it had sort of creepy atmosphere. I kind of thought it was cool.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it. Did you like that?
Yeah, and it was similar to another episode of Doctor Who, another episode written by Stephen Moffat back in the first season of the new series. It was completely different, but the whole it just had this vibe because it was in a creepy hospital, and there were, I don't know, faceless people. You'll see when you get to that episode, but it felt very similar to one we've seen before.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of the way Stephen Moffat writes horror because I feel like he is supposed to really like scaring me. He's more concerned about shocking me, which is not necessarily the same thing. But that is really true in Sherlock. But anyway, but I did think it was just sort of creepy. You have like this one that just keeps pressing this button. This is pain, 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 pain,
Mm-hmm.
and then another that because I'm so sure says, kill me, kill me, kill me, and that was pretty
Yeah.
good. I thought, as far as just had like a sense of, I like the atmosphere. I thought it was pretty good. The way it was designed and the way you got these like weird blue IVs and the look of everything looked pretty creepy. And
Mm-hmm.
you have like the Nurse Ratched type character who says, this is your heart now, but outside this hospital, it will stop working. So you got this is this sort of weird place. And then we get introduced to this man who he tells Bill, "You are my mother. When you hug me, it hurts my heart." He says that.
I think he was saying she reminded him of his mother or like his aunt. But then we, I, I should have rewatched this before we did this because it's going to be completely different watching every scene with him knowing that he's the master eventually. Because now that I know he's the master, he was just saying that to mess with her because that's what the master does. He said that she reminded him of his mother or his aunt. And everything he said, I thought he was just kind of being simple. No, that was the master just messing with her the whole time, which that's kind of brilliant that they did it that way, and it's going to make for a completely different rewatch. I'm looking forward to rewatching it actually.
Yeah, and he says, well, he ends up getting her into this surgery thing, and I'd written down the man has betrayed her. It's in quote, it's best to get people in here without knowing why.
Mm-hmm.
So, and yeah,
now we know why he betrayed her because he's the master.
he wanted to hurt the doctor.
Yes.
And so the blue man, he was associated with him.
No, the blue man, he was one of. All of this is taking place on a spaceship. So the blue man was one of the original crew. So the original crew have all apparently been converted into Cybermen by this point. But he wasn't human, so they left him alone because the Cybermen want humans. That's the kind of being they know how to deal with.
Was he the same blue man that was in the
No, I think he was probably the same species, but he wasn't the same guy.
Okay. All right. And so this man is there with Missy, and we get a little exposition. Bill has been turned into a Cyberman, and that it's from Mondas, and that's when the man takes off his mask, and you realize that he is he takes off his mask and he says that it's someone's former prime minister. And then he says, "Hello, Missy, I'm the master." And evidently this is John Sims' master from previous.
Yes, he was elected prime minister in episodes. So I didn't really, when he first said that, I was like, why does he need to wear a mask? Because nobody on the planet Mondas is going to have any idea who the prime minister of the UK was in 2007. So then I realized, I guess Bill probably would have recognized him because Bill would have been alive then. Bill would have known. So he had the whole disguise for Bill's sake, just to trick her because Bill would have been familiar with the Master as the Prime Minister.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, even though she's kind of in sort of a vegetative state in a way, like, I don't know how much she could have really left anyway, but yeah, I mean, she certainly wouldn't have trusted him as much if he looked like a politician.
I feel like they probably could have gotten away with having him not be in disguise because she could have said, "Oh, you remind me of our Prime Minister a few years ago," because it wouldn't really make sense for her to think that it was the Prime Minister. I don't know. The disguise was more for the audience anyway, I think. I don't think it... probably could have done it without the disguise. It was just it was for the audience's sake to give another big reveal, which I'm kind of glad for because that was my condolence for not being shocked that Jensen was coming back, but I was surprised that he'd been there the whole time, so I guess I was glad for that one big reveal.
Okay. What is this? I'm just looking here that it says the Cyberman identifies itself as formerly being Bill Potts. The Master and Missy then explain they are witnessing the genesis of the Cyberman. The Cyberman tells the Doctor it waited for him underneath its face cover, and then Bill sheds a tear at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So she knows that the Doctor's really let her down, basically.
And I think that this probably won't mean anything to you, but I saw someone say online that this was supposed to be sort of an explanation for the future designs of the Cybermen, because the Cybermen, their eyes look like there's a single tear coming out of their eyes. So once I read that, I was like, that was kind of a clever callback to that, to have her cry a single tear and have it come out of the Cyberman's eye.
Because she's turning into a Cyberman, right?
Yeah. I don't... Yeah. It's probably not what canonically explains the design for the eye, but I thought it was clever.
Yeah. So it can be a pretty depressing finale, don't you think? Got the Doctor basically probably going to die because he's got to regenerate. You have Bill dead. You have, Missy and the Master both doing bad things, and I don't know. Ooh, it sounds like a bit of a downer, no?
It probably will be. I mean, there's always the chance that Moffat has some huge twist up his sleeve.
No.
They're all in a simulation still.
Oh my gosh. Can you imagine? That would be the worst ever.
I know. I think I'd rather it be depressing than have everything be fake.
Yeah, I agree 100% there. That's true. I mean, I guess have they had sort of more somber finales before, or is it usually pretty?
When the Doctor regenerates, it's pretty much always depressing. It's always something really bad has led up to him regenerating. I can't think of one where it was all that pleasant at all.
Yeah. Huh, interesting.
I guess the first regeneration of the new series, it wasn't that depressing because he sacrificed himself to save someone. So, and I guess that's what he usually does. He usually ends up sacrificing himself to save someone. I don't know if that will happen with Bill or not. But even so, everything that leads up to it is usually pretty depressing. The only one that I can think of right now is the transition from 9 into 10 when he saved someone. And, well, I guess no, not even that, because a whole bunch of people died right before that, so never mind. It's always depressing.
So was it just sort of the reveal of the master that made you end up loving this this episode?
That probably contributed greatly to it, but I thought everything else was well done too. It just,
Mhm.
I really felt for everyone involved, specifically Bill, I guess, mainly Bill. I it just I was really invested in her story, and I was really hoping that she wasn't going to die, and every terrible thing that happened to her gave me the feels. And even though her outcome is not great, I still really liked the episode. This happened to another companion before too,
Mm.
and not this exact scenario, but they had a very bad ending. But I liked the episode that led up to the bad ending.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. It didn't really excite. I wouldn't say I loved it, but it was fine. I thought, but I'm just I don't know. I just always feel sort of manipulated, over manipulated by Moffat's writing, and so there's definitely a little bit of that for sure in this. Certainly not his worst, though. I don't think.
No, no, no. There's been way worse.
Yeah, this season. All right. I mean, it's again. I hate to use the Sherlock, but this was way better than the Sherlock finale, which oof. So I guess it's all compare contrast. But anyway, I'd
I have a
probably
feeling that I still haven't seen Sherlock, but I have a feeling that you've told me so much about how much you hate it. My expectations are so low that I'm probably going to like it
probably
because it's
will.
not going to be as bad as I'm afraid it's going to be.
Oh, no, not for me. It was anyway, yeah. So I would give it like I guess I'd give it like a 7 out of 10 for me. What would you give this one?
I'd probably give it an 8.
8. Okay, cool. All right, so we are excited, I guess, for the finale. Hopefully, it'll give some good resolution. I will be really annoyed if, like, I'm fine with there being some unknown because obviously we don't know who the new doctor is. We don't know, but I'll be really annoyed if it's like if they try to do like a true like cliffhanger thing, like because I do hate that in Moffat's writing so much. And so I hope that they at least give some sense of closure and some satisfying kind of ending to it. But we'll see.
Yeah, I'm kind of afraid that they're going to have a cliffhanger because the last time the Doctor regenerated, there was closure, but then a new thing was revealed at the very end that left off it as a cliffhanger, which led to the Christmas episode a few months later.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of afraid that's going to happen again, but we'll see.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
wouldn't be shocked.
I'd rather we have like a satisfying ending,
Yeah.
but we'll see. I don't know. What I'm afraid of is that the Doctor regenerating in the snow at the end was a scene from the Christmas special.
Oh no.
Because he was in the snow, and there's always snow in the Christmas specials. So I'm just afraid that teaser came 2 episodes early.
So do you think we'll see Peter Capaldi in the Christmas special then? Is your guess?
I thought I heard that he was sticking around until the Christmas special because I thought I heard that's when the regeneration was happening. But they keep teasing it, so who knows? I did read somewhere that Stephen Moffat said that this regeneration is going to be quite a bit different than all the other regenerations that they've had. So whatever that means, I guess, I don't know. Nobody knows what he means when he says that. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Mm. All right. Well, should be interesting. And I guess we'll find out this weekend. So if anybody's watching this, then put in the comments section what you thought of this episode and what you think of the season as a whole, what you're looking forward to in the finale, and let's have a conversation about it. That'll be fun. And so where can people find you?
I'm on Twitter at John J. North, Jonj, North like the direction, and I have a YouTube channel as well.
Yeah, awesome. I'll have a link to all that below. And you can find me at Smiling Elodie Esquerra on all social media and at 54 Disney Reviews on my blog. And I am going to be doing a special podcast tomorrow with my friend Stanford. We're going to be talking all about the Studio Ghibli masterpiece, My Neighbor Totoro, because tonight, if you didn't know, in most of the major theater chains, you can see My Neighbor Totoro tonight on the big screen as part of Studio Ghibli Fest. And every month for the next 6 months, they are having a Studio Ghibli film. And so the first one is Totoro. And so we're going to talk about it tomorrow, so that'll be really fun. I'm really excited about it. So if you have time tonight, go see it. It'll be worth it. You'll love it. So, all right. Well, thanks so much, and we will meet again next week.
Okay. See you then.
Bye.